Great.
Well, yeah, look, uh, welcome everyone else who's watching here and those who are here live. Today's webinar session is all about how to optimize your website for maximum conversion and lead flow. So just to dive into a little bit about websites is really you need to think the website as being like the hub of everything that you've got happening online. So you can have all the social profiles set up, but the website is really that key place where you want to be showing some really big statistics, particularly in the landscape hardscape space. Really, two core things that you want to be showing anyone who gets to your website is your work. So you want to make sure you've got these great projects that you've done being on display and also client testimonials. And essentially, those key things, there's ways to implement it. So, this webinar, we're going to really dive into the details of that, as well as the conversion side, which is all about getting people to take action once they get to your site. So, to start with, this is what we call like a digital marketing flywheel that I go through with any landscape, hardscape businesses that I'm speaking to. And it essentially just kind of outlines some of the uh, foundational elements to get right when preparing like a holistic digital marketing strategy. So we have some core things that are put in place for the programs that we offer for our clients. And all of these do involve some element of a website or at least having these social profiles linking back to your website. So I'll just touch on this real quick, and then we're going to go into the website specific side of things. So the first step is what's called SEO, which is search engine optimization. So this is all designed to get your website, your Google Maps, Google Business Profile seen by people looking for your service who probably don't know about your business name yet, probably don't know about your brand, but they're particularly looking for a specific service in their area. And so that's SEO is designed to get you showing up before your competitors there. Then we have PPC, which is paid advertising through Google Ads, online listings, Yelp, Angie, House, Porch, that Thumbtack. There's those types of listings which can bring in leads, and whether you had a good experience with them or not, they can be a source of work, not the first port of call that we would recommend, but they are a source. And then we have a pay per lead system. If you've seen Google Guarantee, Google Local Services ads, it's a pay per lead system Google has set up. And then these last two ones really come into play once you have some of these other foundational pieces in process. And the retargeting involves people who've already come to visit you, and we can use strategies to make sure that your brand name is then being seen across the internet once they visited your site. And then the last one is all about your brand awareness. So a lot of video content happens to be brand awareness. And once you've got all those things together, you've got these multiple avenues. So I just like to just run through that really quick with anything that we're presenting so people can see, as a digital marketing strategy, these things cover all of that detail. So firstly, for this meeting, we want to make sure that we've got your full attention here. So key things is it's a session here for us to learn and really gain some practical application. So I don't want to put this on just to have people kind of sit back and not take action. These are practical steps. So this is a free webinar that we're putting on with things you can implement today. So all I ask there is let's make sure our phones, the distractions are away, Facebook is away, and then there are key things you can implement that are going to drive more leads to your business. So a little bit about us. Just here's a showcase of some of the clients that we work with, specifically in the landscape hardscape space. And these clients we have all the way from the West Coast. We're in San Diego, all the way to the East Coast. So we have clients all across the US who we work with these digital marketing strategies to bring them great quality jobs, great quality inquiries, and gain new customers. And at the core of the strategies that we're doing with these clients is a high converting, optimized website. And just a little bit more about us too, we've helped generate millions of sales in this space. So, we know the industry, and we're specifically working with landscape and hardscape contractors because we know how to get results in this space. And, nowadays, a lot of people want to work with someone who's a specialist and not just generally across the board in an area. So we really focused our business around this. We started the business to be focused on the landscape, hardscape, outdoor construction space, because when it's done right, it can be really profitable for companies. And a little bit about us: we're a California Landscape Contractor Association member, being based in San Diego. And then we're a part of another group called Seven Figure Agency, which is focused on helping agencies like us grow. So we're at the cutting edge of digital marketing strategies. We're part of masterminds, coaching programs ourselves because we want to do the best for our clients and grow our business just as the same that you want to. Okay. And our goal here is just to grow the businesses of landscape and hardscape contractors, steady clients, repeat business, become the industry leader. Those are some of the key outcomes that we want to provide. Okay, so let's dive into some of the kind of issues we have today. The problem is that I speak to landscape businesses almost every day, and a lot of the common questions, a lot of the common conversations revolve around businesses that have tried some types of marketing. Either they've kind of dipped their toes in it, or they've tried to do a little bit themselves, or at the kind of worst case end is when they've invested thousands upon thousands of dollars with another marketing company that just hasn't gotten them results, is not able to show the return on the investment, and just does not have the communication and things in place to keep their clients on top of things. So that investment, we understand people are investing in these things, but we're designed to do it the right way. And if you're getting traffic, or in marketing, it's quite easy to kind of set something up and say, okay, we've got you this much traffic, but what kind of traffic? Because there are a lot of things you can do with marketing just to drive traffic to places, to a Facebook post, to a website. But if things aren't set up right and that traffic isn't turning into leads, then that's where the return on investment comes into play. And it's something to really look at, because if you're not getting the return on what you're spending, it's not going to work for you. Okay. Now, another thing that happens in businesses we speak to is see that the lead quality is not quite there with the different services they've tried, whether they're doing it themselves, whether they're using a service. And I'll use one example as Angie is the common conversation I have is usually with businesses who've tried or are using Angie, which used to be Home Advisor, and they find the lead quality just isn't there. And if you haven't used those services, or if you're not kind of familiar with how they actually work, is they get a lead. Someone comes through to their website. They put in their project details, and then those Angie, they'll send it out to multiple businesses at once. So, there's kind of no surprise when you look at it that way that you're probably going to be attracting people who are just looking at the bottom dollar price, the price shoppers, because they're going to have multiple businesses contacting them. Then at the other side of it, a lot of those websites are not set up to showcase your brand and your reviews and your projects as the first thing people see. So some of these people are putting that in, and they've never seen what you've done. They've never kind of seen any customers that you've had talking about your services. So, this can just result in an empty schedule, and it's really not the ideal way to bring in leads. So if you just don't have enough leads, you can't grow your business. There's stating the obvious right there. Now, today's focus here is all about finding out what are the key things that are going to convert people on your website. Now, when I talk about a conversion, there's two really main things with the landscape hardscape business, really most service businesses in general. Two things that people want to do when they get to a website, and that you as a business want from them. One is the phone call, that direct line to speak to a customer in person, find out what they want, them to get to know you a little bit. And then you're not just like a brand, or you're not just a company in the internet. Some people really do want to speak to a person at the company, whether it's yourself or whether you have someone answering your phones, and they want to do business with someone they've got to know. Now, the other side of things is people, they are going to submit their project details. And this can come in the form of like an after hours research that they're doing, or they might send it through an email. The example here for AlphaTurf is there's an email, but we'll see there is a form on this site for people to fill out their project details. So those are the two key things, really, a form submission or a phone call, and both are really important. Both have different purposes as well, but the conversion side is we want them to take action and we want them to come to you directly. If they've come through like another lead source, like a lead provider, Angie, or something like that, there's just more hoops and things for them to get through. But people value being able to speak to a business directly as well. So, this is a site that we have designed as the client of ours, and it's designed so one of the first things people see is the phone call option, the contact us option. That is not showing on my screen, but that's actually a video that plays behind the background there. And we're going to dive into some examples on this site, as well as just some great practices overall. And then at the end of the call, we have an opportunity to view a different site, and I can give you some specific feedback for anything you'd like there too. Okay, now the next thing here is that we want to be consistently bringing people through as leads. So this is called a conversion rate for a site, but this is when you start getting your schedule filled up, when these things are filling through these phone call inquiries. And when you've got that momentum, when you've got people consistently reaching out to you, that's how you can grow. And obviously there's seasons across the US, different Hardscape businesses can do different services at different times of the year, whereas, like the southern states can generally be doing it most of the time through the year. But, there are still opportunities to be bringing in regular leads no matter what the season is that way. Okay. And then when you've got the phones ringing and these project inquiries coming through, you're keeping your crew busy, you're growing that way. That's the ideal goal. Okay. And I said at the start, the website is the hub of everything. So it ties everything together. And, it's no surprise, like every time you have a social profile, you have a space to put in your website. And social profiles, they're limited to the platform that they're on. A website, when it's done right, you own it. It's your asset. You have full control about what goes on there, and you can put the most important things together that way. Whereas the social profiles, you're limited to put specific things on there. So why is conversion so important? This step here, we're going to dive into some numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I like to detail some information. So let's take a look at this first scenario. Let's say a business is getting 200 visitors to its website per month. So some of the things that might be driving this is probably in a bigger metro area. This would be a business that has quite a high ranking with SEO and their Google business profile. They'd be running some sort of paid advertising funnel as well, probably Google ads, running this over here. And that type of thing could realistically draw in 200 visitors a month. So if we then pull this down and say, well, okay, out of the 200 visitors per month, 5% convert, as in 5% take action, they phone the business or they submit a project inquiry. Of those 200, then at 5% conversion, you're getting 10 leads, essentially, 10 project inquiries coming through that way. So then we can look at that and say, okay, well, if you work out what your conversion rate is or what your close rate is when you speak to a prospect, 30% is a good kind of general industry rule for around this. You've then been able to book 3 jobs from those 10 leads. If your average project cost is 15,000 in revenue, you can see, simple math there, that's 45 grand in revenue coming through those 200 visitors. So that's kind of the negative scenario. What would happen if you could boost up your website conversion by another 10% to 15% through a bunch of these strategies that we're going to outline? It's pretty impressive. You're now getting 30 leads instead of the 10 leads. Close rate is exactly the same, 30% per conversion. You're now booking 9 jobs as opposed to 3, which bottom line is a pretty massive revenue difference just from tweaking things on the website and increasing that conversion. So this is why the conversion side, being optimized for conversion, is just absolutely key on getting these people to take action. So at an increase to 15% conversion, they've looked through your site. They've looked at the projects you've done. They've looked for the services you're doing. They've compared what they have in their mind about what they want. They've looked at your customer reviews. The site encourages them to take action with a call or project inquiry. And we've got some tips we're going to run through here to help with that. But the difference here is pretty immense. Triple, really, leads and revenue we see. Okay, so quick pause moment. Why is this important to you? Think about what are your business goals for 2024? Where do you want to see an improvement? And those numbers that I just shared on the previous slide, where is your business sitting at? Do you have a handle on those numbers? Do you know what an extra increase in conversion would actually bring for your business based on what you have coming through online channels right now? And when I say like online channels or the website, this this could be people who are coming to your website through a business card, or maybe you're doing mail outs and mail drops, or maybe you're just speaking to someone or you're introduced to someone. The business card is great, the introduction is great, the referral is great, but these people still want to kind of check out what you do. So bring them here, allow them to see that, and win the job that way. All right. Now, at this point, we do have like a practical way of going through these. So I'm just going to post this up in the chat. So if you didn't get access to the workbook, this just details some of the strategies we're going to go through. And there's some little practical things to implement there. Take notes or, jot down some things that you're going to implement. So I just put that in the chat for anyone who doesn't have that access yet. And we're going to break this down into 12 critical elements for increasing the conversion on your site. So number one is really getting a handle on the target avatar, or what is the type of person that you're wanting to bring in? Who's your ideal client? What's their fears and frustrations? Why do they want to choose you over the competitor? So a lot of business coaching, a lot of kind of business startup methodology is based on determining what is this target avatar. And maybe you've done this activity before, or maybe you've just been in business for so long, you've had a chance to talk to so many people and work out what are some of their challenges are. But we want to make sure that they're seeing you're the one to choose over the competitor. So part of the key things is doing this is making sure your team and your projects are on the homepage. You definitely want the first thing that people see is pictures that you're a real business that does face-to-face work with people. So websites, it's pretty easy to find stock images. And now with the rise of AI, you can generate landscape photos, hardscape photos pretty easily there. But people can see through that, and you ideally, like, one of the best, one of the coolest looking photos we encourage our clients to get is just get a picture of yourself or yourself and your team just standing in front of one of your work trucks or something like that, or a background that has your logo branding on it, something like that, just to show people a bit about your business. And you don't need to have the whole crew there, but head of the company, yourself, or if you're with a business partner doing it, start there. Just get a local photographer to do something for you that way, just so you can at least put that up on your website, social profiles, and everything there. And then, of course, the projects we've talked about through the website, proper, good quality photos of your work. Next level to this is, can you get some sort of video or multimedia element shown on your site? So a walkthrough of a project, or speaking with a client, or drone shots. You can embed social profile if you do post up a lot of reels or short form video content on Instagram or TikTok and things like that. There are plugins and implementations you can put into your site to showcase those as well. So if you're already doing that in one type of avenue with social media, why not just spread it out to all your areas too? And your website being a key part of that is going to help. So a welcome video is a great place to start. And again, like a local videographer, just to do a quick rundown about your business, how long you've been in business for, the type of people you work with, those types of projects you've done, anything like that that's going to showcase you as a business owner is just fantastic. And then for your services, so for each service of that your business provides, your website should have a specific page for each of those services. So if you're doing pools, make sure you've got examples of pool work there. If you're focused on fencing or decking, make sure you've got those ones there. If you're really focused on like an overall backyard remodel, have a service page built out for those. And ideally, if you can get a video done for each of your services and put it on YouTube and embed it on your site, that just shows a lot of proof to people visiting. And then you can go further than that and have the explanation of why. So, why you're fully licensed and insured. You've been in business 20, 30 years. You're a specialist. Maybe you specialize in synthetic turf or a specific type of yard design. Anything like this, just to showcase yourself and why you're different and why you specialize, is a great one. Okay, now next one is looking at social proof. So your website, you want to show as much of your reviews as possible. So we use a tool for our clients called ElfSite, which I can show later on in the webinar here. And all it is like a widget that gets put on your site, and it can be shown a number of ways. But again, you can use it to maximize the reviews you've generated. Maybe your Google business profile, you've been collecting reviews, you have Facebook reviews, you have Yelp reviews, you have Angie Leads, Home Advisor reviews. Whether or not you use those services anymore or at the time, these review widgets can be fantastic, because you can, make sure that you're only showing the 5-star reviews, the best ones, but also gives a little review count. So if someone starts seeing your reviews, our clients, the number we like to give them is get at least 30 reviews together, ideally on your Google profile. And when people see that number count, it's just this quick, instant factor of knowing more about your business. Okay, now the basics is getting these key things in order. So basics in order is, we want the phone number in the top right corner of the website, or on your phone. It should be like one of the first things that shows up as soon as you get to your site. There needs to be a form on your site for people to fill out very easily. It should be near the top of the page. And the minimum things you want to collect is their name, phone number, email, and some detail about the project they want. But if you want to, you can add in things like a checkbox list, or a list of your specific services, and then you can get that information there, and people don't have to type, so it's quicker for them to submit, but at least do something like that. And next we have the authority symbols here. So again, Angie I'm not saying Angie are the best, but just having these badges that you have a rating on Angie, or maybe Better Business Bureau if you have something like that. Maybe it's part of a local organization. Maybe you featured in news articles, or you've sponsored other local business or organizations. Putting all that on your site adds credibility and drives people to want to work with you. Clear call to actions is the next step here. So tell them what to do. You want to tell your customer to call you, submit a project, get a free quote. Offers are a key part there, but tell your customers what they need to do as the next step. And ideally, it's communicating with them. Now, number 7 is dealing with offers and things that you can use to encourage people to take action. A dollar amount off a project is a pretty easy way to get people to take action. So a common amount we see is $500, and it's not too tricky there when you're doing your quote and your bidding process to add that in other shapes or forms. So don't view it as something that you're instantly losing money, but people do respond to those dollar off amounts as well. And it might not always seem like the most comfortable thing to do, or it might seem cheap, but it does help. It does help with conversions. Sometimes a limited time seasonal offer could be something you put out there as well. Or maybe instead of doing a price discount, you throw in something that's a bonus. Perhaps a design work is included as part of the package, or maybe there's a feature or something that you're offering people. If you offer different package upgrades or something like that, throw in the higher price package for the base package price. So there's quite a few things you can kind of think through there, which would work for your business. I said it before, make sure your site views properly on the phone. So older websites are terrible for this because they were just designed differently back. Anything that's really older than 5 years old, if you check it on your phone and it's not displaying, it's not mobile optimized. So that's really important. And you want, again, the number one thing you want people to do on a phone is to call you or get to that form if it's after hours. Next thing is something that's probably in the last 3-4 years become a pretty great staple to include on a website is a live chat feature. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have someone 24 hours available to answer questions, though there are services that can provide that. But sometimes people just have a specific question they want to ask. And if you have a live chat feature on the site, they can put it in, and then you can have a message going to them. Thank you for your inquiry. We'll get back to you within business hours. And then you, as a business owner, you can just respond to them and start that conversation going. And some of those chats as well require those people to put in their details first. So now you have a lead in your system. If you're using a CRM to track everything, that can all be linked in and you've got their details. Now, number 10 is an option for people to be able to book online. Now, usually for Hardscape, it might be that you want to allow them to book a time for you to come out and do the quote. And there's a service that we highly recommend called RouteZilla. I'm going to pop that in the chat as well if you want to check it out. But if you're wanting to take advantage of that, that can be a great way to have people book online. Or maybe you're doing some combination of maintenance, lawn care work as well. And that can be just a great little way. It connects in with your Google business profile and then kind of follows through to your website. But it allows people to see when you're available. So you sync in your calendar or your team's calendar. And people can just go ahead and book it. If you have very set priced services, it can be just a great way for people to do that. Some people just want to do things online, do things quick, get it organized. So that's a great option for sites nowadays as well. Number 11, the site speed is key. So I was talking about before the mobile optimized sites. if you've got an older site or you've got a site that has been built on a platform like WordPress or an older site and it's just slow, bogged down with things, that affects users doing things on your site. People can just leave if they're tired of a website loading, and that's the worst thing for conversion, that people haven't even gotten a chance to see your site because of the slow site speed. And it also affects your SEO rankings. So there are online speed checkers you can see there too, but the quick one is just to load up your phone or your desktop computer and check, how long does it take my site to load up? And then the 12th piece here is SMS and phone via marketing automation. So at this end of things, we're now looking at what happens when someone submits their details. What happens if someone calls you and you can't answer the phone? There are all sorts of great marketing automation techniques you can use to make sure that that lead isn't lost. One of the key ones is a text back feature. If you can't answer the phone, that person will get a text. And a great thing to use is, sorry, we missed your call. Tell us a little bit about your project. And again, you can start to get that information there without losing their interest. They still know that you're interested in what their inquiry is, even if you couldn't get to the phone. The other side then too is if they submit a form on the site, what happens next? Do they just get like a pop-up saying, thanks for submitting? There are a lot of things you can do after that to nurture that prospect as they come in. And the key one there is a text message, again, thanking them for submitting their inquiry. You'll get back to them in business hours, or you can also even have things set up in business hours. So when a form submits, it goes through to your phone, automatically calls the customer, your phone starts ringing and it connects you over to the customer there. And that way you're not having to go and do anything manually, but this lead is connected to you straight away. So there's some really great marketing automation techniques that we use. Happy to share some more details if anyone has questions about that at the end, but it can be a great way to make the most of converting a lead. All right, so that was like a real big rundown of multiple areas there. So I'm going to go back to that slide in a second, but which one of these 12 would you say that you could implement right now to increase the conversion of your website? So take a moment to think through that. Put a number in the chat if you want. But this is an action webinar. So pick one of these things as a starting point, as just what is the priority you could implement. This is in your workbook too as well. Tim says number 10, the option to book online. Yeah, check out Routzilla. Raphael says 10 as well. Yeah, Routzilla's great. I'm curious, are you guys doing maintenance side? Is that where you would see 10 being a more option, a good option there? And then Raphael's saying 3, the video. Yeah, everything video related. It's great. And people, you can do a lot with just a phone recording, and there are quick apps you can use to record and just pretty up something, even just as a starting point. If you've got nothing on there, something is better than nothing there. Raphael says, what software do you recommend for video or for the scheduling? For text. So we have a platform that we use specifically with our clients, which is set up for landscape and hardscape businesses. It's built on a platform called High Level. There are some other software that can be used to integrate. So if you have any other type of scheduling software in place, something, if you've, Jobber is a big one, but if you've got something already set up for your business, Uh, a lot of them do have like these little add-ons there as well. But yeah, if you want more details, we can chat at the end, and you can just let me know what you've got in use already. All right. Okay, so we talked through that, how we optimize for the conversion there. So is it optimized for callers? One of the biggest things that we see is just a conversion killer is that the phone number links aren't clickable. So it's pretty easy. You go to a website, you can hover over this, and you should see a link down the bottom left. On your phone, it's a little bit, you just tap on the number. Does it take you to get to a phone call to someone? So go ahead and check that as the biggest thing for your site. If you haven't done that, make sure every instance of a phone call on your site is a clickable click to call link. Okay, and how can we get some more to convert? Happy to talk through this, guys. For anyone else who, if you've got any specific questions, you can just schedule a call with us, and we can take a look at your site leading up to it. So I'll put this in the chat there as well. But we can take a look at your site and do an audit for you there as well if you want to get a hands-on look from us. Now, next thing is all about the customer avatar here. So if you can see through Joe Jones, if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones' eyes, then you can sell what he wants. You can sell what he's willing to buy. So this is kind of a quick rundown. If you haven't done something like the avatar goals grid or your ideal avatar, there's some steps here in your workbook that can help fill this out. We've done a quick overview here as just an example. So let's position it as this avatar as an example. Someone, homeowner, over 35 years old. Typically it might be the female in the household who's wanting to plan and design something out, or maybe the male of the household is involved in some shape or form too. But if it's a family household that's looking to do that and they have some disposable income, a lot of these type of people, they want to host, they want to have people around, but a pain or frustration common for this avatar is the outdoor space they're just not happy with, and either it's not looking great from like an outdoor living perspective, or from a lawn maintenance side, the yard just looks like trash. There's weeds everywhere. The lawn hasn't been mowed. But these are the types of things that are going to affect a customer avatar like this, where they want to have people around, they want to have family, friends, invite people around to the space, but either the space just isn't set up nicely or it's not maintained. At the same token, they're kind of too busy, or they're both could be working full time to actually do it themselves. And also, common frustration for a lot of people with the contractor space is the reliability of people here as well. And then I'll also add to that too, some of these people just don't know what they want. They don't know how much things cost. They have a general idea of what they want to do in the space, but your key avatar in this space, they have more money than they have time. So they don't have the time to think things through. They want to work with an expert who's going to help them plan things out, and who's going to guide them to, they're looking for a return on investment too. What's the most cost-effective way to redo their yard? So that's just one example there. There's some more in your workbook you can go through yourself. And further to that, some of their fears is they're, being ripped off or overcharged. The horror stories, you go to any kind of Facebook local group, next door app or something like that, it doesn't take long to find people complaining about a contractor who did half a job and then left it, and Some of that can be on the customer side there, of course, as well. But there's a genuine fear of people like this when they're engaging someone to do a project. Um, the price is obviously something there as well, and so that's something you can actually do in your qualifying process is to work out where people's budgets are at, and also sometimes these people just need a reality check about what things actually cost, particularly now with inflation. And I mean, going through that, like most things have gone up in cost, so sometimes an explanation of that for these people is the starting point to explain that. But yeah, their goals and desires, there's some other ones there. But we find, yeah, a lot of these people, they just want a great hosting space. Okay, so I spoke a little bit previously there about some of the messaging and the offers you can make. So here's just a quick summary of that one there as well. Yeah, number one, the easier you make it for them to get a quote or to book, the better. So there's software solutions, there's logistical solutions about just having the phone, having someone to answer the phone is a big one there as well. But yeah, the timeliness of getting someone out there when they say they're going to come is really key on that area. So you can position that on your site. If you know that you can fulfill that and you can be on time, just in the way you schedule and do things, showcase that. That's a big draw for people. We talked about the percent off, the dollar amount off, satisfaction guaranteed, however you work in your design process with things. Number three, yeah, what's something in your area that can encourage people to take action? In the southern states, a lot of it is the drought tolerant side of things, not having to deal with sod when they have synthetic turf. For other people, it's low maintenance backyard, low maintenance um, landscape designs there as well. So if you specialize in those, go for it, showcase that, or even just put it on your site and see how people respond to that. See what kind of messaging gets people asking questions when they come through to you. All right, here's just another example. This is from the Alpha Turf website. Is a client of ours. They're pretty prolific on their social media, in Instagram particularly, often posting photos and videos up. So what we did to maximize that is put this Instagram widget on their website, which is, you can see there, it's seeing their recent projects. And what happens is, just as they update things on their Instagram, it automatically gets updated on the website. So they don't have to do anything. They're doing what they normally do with their social profile here, but it gets put on the site, updated. People can come and see how many people liked or commented. They can see some of the comments. They can see the images there as well. Just another little kind of multimedia example I wanted to show. Here's a review widget that can be set up as well. So again, this I said, yeah, Elf site is the one that we use for our sites and our clients. Is you can bring in, this is specifically the Google reviews, but you can have them updated as new ones are added. You can only showcase the best ones. You have options to show images here again. And this is just something that's done from people reviewing them, but it's automatically coming through to the site and getting updated. So our client doesn't have to do anything there themselves. It's just updated through that option. Here's another example, a different client of ours here, this showcasing some of their badges here. So they're part of BBB. They have the A+ accreditation. They do have the Home Advisor badges that they've built out over time. So why not show them? Yeah, like whether you use them or not, whether you've had a good experience or not, put that kind of stuff on your site. And then that's an example here of just showcasing their specific services over to those specific service pages on their website. Okay. Now, yeah, we talked about phones, but it's actually it's about 70%. 70% of people are actually viewing websites on their phones nowadays, so it's got to be mobile friendly. Check that right now if you need to there as well. Here's that live chat example. This is from our website. People can jump on there and ask questions. Now, this is kind of really a summary here. If there's a couple of other examples of reviews there, Bird Eye, Review Buzz, and the basics as well, but just circling back around there as well. Again, that's in the workbook, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Okay, so I know we went through that before. Three, and 10 were the big ones. Write down some other action items there. If there's anything else we need to ask, we do have some time for Q&A before it's 3 o'clock. But now it's time to work out what the action step is. So if you identified that, yeah, you needed the automation side of things or the video, what is the action step you're going to take? Do you have like a family member who can do some video work for you? Or are you just going to do it? Put down at least one action item that you're going to put into place as a result of today's webinar. Just highlighting that, let's jump back to those numbers there as well. But before we get there, these are some pretty worrying numbers for sites. Not the last one there is a real bad one. The web forms, 90% of web forms. People, your statistics of actually getting someone to become a client drops off drastically after them 10 minutes reaching out to your business. So that's why the web form side of things, the project inquiry, the automation is just key nowadays for getting back to people. 10, 15 minutes, yeah, that they go cold there. And people want to have those touch points. 5 to 7 times is a pretty important number. So the follow-up is important there as well. But you're off to such a higher footing with someone on those touch points if they've already seen your work and if they've seen your customer reviews. It's going to make that a lot easier. Okay, and a lot of people do like to communicate via text these days. Once you have a text automation in place as well, you can get people to text, picture of the yard, all these things that can kind of make your job easier or get you, give you minimal time when you actually need to be at the property or forward planning. Those types of things are great with the text message follow-up. So yeah, we suggest within 2 minutes of a form submission or a phone call, even if they answer the phone and you talk to them on the phone, it doesn't hurt to have like a text message going out 2, 5, 10 minutes after saying, is there anything else we needed to cover? Even a 3-day later text saying, were we able to help you? And you don't have to position that as coming from you, but it's kind of like this check-in call, and maybe they just it fell off their radar. You've now brought it back to the front, and you're showing them that you're invested. And again, those touch points can come into place without you having to manually do them. So just pull up those numbers again to take a look at there. This is at a bigger scale. Let's say this is a yearly scale that you had 100 leads come in across the year. And we're assuming these are, more of the construction projects at 15 grand. But 30% with no follow-up means that you're only getting a much smaller amount there. Oh, just ignore that 650, that's a typo. But your revenue is drastically different when you can increase that conversion rate with automatic follow-up. So very powerful. Okay. So is your website optimized? We've been through that, and you've got your workbook to look at it and the action steps there. So I do want to have some time for Q&A. Of course, yeah, if you want to talk to us, have us do an audit and look at what's happening for you now. Maybe you got questions and you just want to book a one-on-one call. Do use that link there. I put it in the chat. We'll go ahead and do that for you there as well.